Hi guys, can everybody hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, Jochen, go ahead.
Good stuff. Okay, excellent. So again, Renee, from all of us and from all gathered, happy birthday to you, Renee. Wishing you a wonderful day and a brilliant year ahead. And I hope as well that with this project that we have some really good moments where we could have some interventions that are fun and that absolutely speak to our mandate. So colleagues, thank you for your attendance. Thank you for your time. This is part of what the BPESA does in terms of adding value, not only to its member constituency, but also to the sector at large. And as you well know, that we are on a growth curve, which is welcome and really, really commendable. But just as importantly, we need to have the skills and we need to have the capacity to meet that demand. So we partner with organizations such as the UNDP and the GIZ, and we're really grateful for their funding and for their support in terms of us growing this sector. I represent the Western Cape, so I'm now speaking to the Western Cape constituency. And colleagues, please, I would love for you to participate, to engage, to get involved in this. And at any given time during the course of the next few weeks or in the course of the actual implementation of the project, should you need either myself or Renee or any of our BPESA team to be hands-on in terms of helping with any bottlenecks or challenges, please let us know. We're very, very excited about this project, and we expect that it will add great value, like I said, not only to our resources, not only to your companies, but to the growth of the sector at large in this country. So I'm going to now hand over to Ms. Lynn, who is the Gauteng representative. Over to you, Ms. Lynn.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm really excited today about our operators in Gauteng. I look after Gauteng, it's my responsibility. And I think this UNDP GIZ project is going to be really awesome. We've already had a first run of it in the Eastern Cape. It was very successful. And I'm looking forward to supporting you and helping you. With the help of Renee Groom, who is going to be the project monitor on this project. I really I'm keen to see how great we're going to do in Gauteng, and as we succeed together and as we put young people through this program and ultimately providing employment, sustainable employment for them. And I think also in terms of BPESA's value proposition to you as our members, that we are here today to launch and kick off this project. And as we hold hands together and make sure that we do all of the right things, let's participate today. Let's ask questions. Let's be open about our needs so that we can all succeed in this project together. Thank you very much, Renee, and back to you.
Thank you, Lynn and Jochen, for that warm introduction. I'm now going to hand you over to Keith. My colleague will give you an overview on the project, the insights of the project, the deliverables and the target outcomes. So Keith will speak to that. And I'm going to encourage you also to please post any questions that you might have in the chat. We will try to cover all the questions that you ask and answer as we go along. And also we'll give you a Q&A at the end of the session. So over to you, Keith.
Thanks very much, Renee. Much appreciated. Good afternoon, everyone from Cape Town. For those people who don't know me, my name is Keith Rosmarin. I lead the skills portfolio in BPESA. Passionate around building the skills in this country, especially from excluded communities where we've got untapped talent. And I think, in preparation for this briefing session, I was reflecting on the recent World Economic Forum report on the future of jobs. And in that 2023 report, Jeff Magiancalda, who's from Coursera, CEO, I think, of Coursera, says that we're pretty much all in the same boat. Whether you're a factory worker or in the front lines, or whether you're a knowledge worker sitting behind a desk, we're all in the same boat. Technology is shifting the way that every job task will be performed. And 86% in this survey of organizations participating indicate an increased adoption trend of new and frontier technologies. And while the net impact of most technology jobs is expected to be positive over the next 5 years, employers predict a structural labor market churn of 23% of jobs, a combination of 10.2% job growth and 12.3% decline. And in addition, 44% of workers' skills will be disrupted during that period, with cognitive problem solving moving into the foreground, followed by analytical thinking and technology literacy. An alternative way of perhaps putting that is that 44% of workers' core skills are expected to change in the next 5 years. And it's also expected that AI and automation, and I see we've got a few of those individuals, or at least tools on participating in our section, taking notes, some AI tools, that AI will accelerate. And by 2027, 43% of tasks will be completed by machines. And of course, this seismic shift requires especially our sector to act now and accelerate upskilling, reskilling, and future skilling of in-demand skills to ensure that we retain our competitiveness and achieve our master plan objectives for growth and job creation. And I'm grateful to the UNDP and GIZ partnership, which is being ongoing to support our sector to achieve this objective. So what I'd like to do, and I'll just take myself a video for the moment, is just take you through some of the objectives of the project, what we're trying to achieve, and then I'll be handing you over to some of our other colleagues to take you through the incorporation of Future Skills platform in particular. But firstly, the objectives are quite clear. It's really focused on developing talent for the South African digital economy and our sector in particular, to enhance employability and relevancy, to transition into GBS roles, and also to incumbent staff that are already in and employed in and by the GBS sector. As with all our skills programs, we're always demand-led, and it's all about an outcome, and that outcome in this case is either a 12-month contract, employment contract, or a permanent role or position, and it's focused on providing subsidization and training to support employing a number of individuals into our sector. The focus for GIZ and UNDP, and of course our own sector, is a focus on excluded youth in particular, particularly unemployed excluded youth, as well as women, and to drive digitally focused skilling to enhance the employability and of course their pathway into the digital economy and our sector in particular. I'm not going to go through line by line. We will also include this deck for you directly after this session. And of course, the other aspect is to leverage our networks to support youth access, in particular the SA Youth platform. Thanks, Renee. Would you like to shift to the next gear, or Sibu, if you wouldn't mind shifting to the next slide? I just want to check whether it's only my screen that shows. If you could just shift to the next slide, unless it is already going.
Oh, I'm shifting to the next slide now, Keith. Don't know why it's taking quite long.
Okay, no problem at all. Well, as the slide and the technology tries to catch up, the focus for the sort of project, once again, is around digital information and skilling. You having any joy, Sibu?
I don't know why it's taking so long.
Perhaps just exit and come back in again if the slide, or just come off slide presentation.
Okay.
But the numbers that we're talking about here are, thank you very much, is for absorption of 413 youth into employment for the for work readiness, and 1,412 people who are currently employed to go through upskilling or reskilling, all using Future Skills platform as one of the enablers. The project has already commenced, and that's why we're having this session. It commenced on the 11th of September, 2023, and the end date, thanks very much, Sibu, will be on the 30th of April, 2024. That's the end of April 30th of next year. And that will mean that we will need to have incumbents employed by that date and evidence demonstrated of that employment, or with regard to upskilling, and that's for the 1,412 that they're involved and engaged with upskilling by that time. Of course, just from the guiding principles, and I've alluded to some of those already, this is building on a successful initiative that's already been undertaken in Eastern Cape as well as KZN. We do want to see benefits not only for candidates going into this project as well as incumbents, but of course for organizations to tap into the resources that are being made available and catalyzed by the funding of GIZ and UNDP. Thanks. See if you wouldn't mind checking to the next slide. We've mentioned, I think this time around, that previously we've done Eastern Cape and KZN. This has now been extended. To the Western Cape and Gauteng, and the allocation by province is for the work readiness and for the 413, and that's a 6-week program. For Western Cape is 248, and for Gauteng 165. And then for upskilling for incumbent staff, and it's a total of 1,412, that's been allocated against those numbers, 847, which is 60% for Western Cape, and 565 or 40% for Gauteng. Thanks, Subu. So I think once again, just simply, we'll be looking at 413 unemployed youth who will need to be sourced and trained using Future Skills platform and placed into digitally enabled jobs in the global business services sector, which includes, of course, expansion on that definition to digital and ICT companies who are also BPESA members. And I think once again, it needs to be emphasized that this project is a value add for BPESA members, and therefore you would need to be a BPESA member to be part of this program. For the 1,412 employed people, that is an opportunity for individuals who operators recognize who could take advantage of Future Skills platform and content that is available to them to use the user licenses for the Future Skills platform for a duration of 1 year. And Judy and Renee will give you more information around that. Thanks, Sibu. I think to take it to the next one, and just the last 2 slides from my perspective. So we have highlighted it's 6 weeks work readiness training. And BPESA Future Skills platform is available to organizations to add to either existing LXPs or learning experience platforms that they might have, or learning management systems, and to provide additional content which is available through our content partners. And once again, Judy and the team will give you information around that. I have already spoken around the incumbent staff. And perhaps just the last slide, which gives an indication of the process that we're deploying. The first is that organizations will need to source for candidates in both Western Cape and Gauteng, particularly targeting unemployed youth and women especially, but also people with disabilities, would certainly be welcome to be included in this project. It's an area that I think BPESA is starting to drive a lot more, and to support our sector to especially focus on young people who do have disabilities. They'll work through a work readiness training for 6 weeks, once again using BPESA Future Skills platform as well as operators' own content. And then pathway into the workplace, continue to learn and to grow, especially on work integrated learning, and to be placed into a contract of either 12 months or a full-time employment contract after the 1 year. Of course, what we're looking at the end of the day, and our sector has really been a leader in this area, is that it's not only about going through a one-year program and going back into unemployment. This is about sustainable careers, but it's also about delivering value and building a talent pipeline to support the growth of the sector. So I look forward to seeing more of the questions coming through in the chat, and I'll look at answering some of those. But I think at this point, I'd like to hand over to Renee and Judy just to talk to you about how we're engaging with Future Skills Platform to add value to this project. Thanks, Judy, and thanks, Renee.
Thank you so much, Keith. Good afternoon to everybody. I'm Renee Chetty, the Learning Experience Lead for Future Skills Platform. So what is the Future Skills Platform? It is a learning platform that is cloud-based, so the learning experience that can take place anywhere, virtually in a digital cloud. You could use the, you can access the platform through any device, including a mobile device. So learners are able to commence with self-learning in and outside of the workplace and within their own space as well. So what are some of the value that the Future Skills Platform will be adding to yourselves as stakeholders? It is a cloud-based platform, like I've initially mentioned. It does integrate with content partners and content marketplace, so it allows for a range of being able to pick free learning content from trusted content partners, and the platform already provides that capability. It has a very strong competency-based assessment capability, which is our metal assessment tool. This is an assessment with an approach to evaluating the individual skills, knowledge, and abilities for specific job outcomes, which one is able to use to evaluate the employees at the end of a learning program. Future Skills also has a very dynamic data analytical reporting tool. In that reporting tool, you'll be able to look at your group's performance, individual performance, the content performance, and overall what it does is it's able to provide leaderboards and badges so that you can not only measure, but you can also reward your employees against the performance against the learning programs. Future Skills also has a very strong AI technology. So if you want to look at upskilling the employees within your organizations, it does provide relevant updated content as it continuously refreshes on a day-to-day basis with relevant and current content. It has a very strong work readiness program that's been built by our content architect, which I'm going to hand you over to once I'm complete introducing you to the platform. We've got new work readiness for new employees, so those who have never entered into a workplace before, or those who may have been semi-skilled and are looking to work within your organization. There's also a very strong component for upskilling and reskilling your existing employees within the business. The beauty about Future Skills is that you can start building a complete learning ecosystem, and that ecosystem will include your organizational talent development, which you will then identify. And what's the best part of us being able to engage on a one-to-one basis is that we will provide co-creation capabilities. So we will partner with you. Alternatively, we already have preset programs in terms of how we are going to best engage on the platform. I know that this slide pack will be shared with you, but I really look forward to a one-on-one engagement to take you through the platform's capabilities, the functions, and how you can optimize performance and your key metrics within your organization. So thank you very much for that. I'm now going to hand you over to Judy, who is our content architect, to be able to take you through the content structure itself. Thank you so much, Judy. Want to see, is Judy on?
I am on. I just needed to get the correct slide up there for me in a minute, please.
Cool.
There we go. Thank you. So yes, Renee, thank you so much. I think one of the critical areas that you've discussed and spoken to is the fact that it's enabling a ecosystem of learning. The FSP platform is something we call a content aggregation of best-in-class content from global sources of content, as well as from our own internal content curation team that have an extensive experience in the GBS and ICT sectors. And then in addition, content that you will co-create with us or create and load to your own journeys. So we have a range of options for work readiness, and we have structured it as digital work readiness, that being that digital jobs are critical and digital skills are critical for the future world of work. We have content that ranges from a 10-day through to a 6 to 12-week work readiness opportunity based training, dependent on the requirements of the organization. The first part of the structure of the content is around all of the shared skills necessary to gain meaningful, purposeful employment and to succeed in entry-level job roles in the GBS and ICT sector. Those are best practice linked to what are the key predictors of good performance in the GBS sector at a work readiness level. We have overlaid that with the Digital Skills Framework 1, so that the 6 baseline competencies that everybody needs to be able to operate in a digital workplace are covered and aligned to the South African Skills Framework, authored by the Innovation Hub at the UWC in terms of its alignment to global ICT skills standards. So any work readiness program that you do take on board on the FSP now is inclusive of Digital Skills Framework 1 competency outcomes at an entry level. In addition, there are bespoke electives to your world of work in the BPO sector, whether it be domain specific or level specific. And we work closely with your team to develop the content structure for choice. And there's an additional explore structure open source content to critical partners. And I think I'll just close off with the critical partners being something we're very proud of, and that we have a full catalog of Microsoft Office skills from entry level of computer hardware right through to your Azure cloud-based computing certifications. We have a similar option with a full catalog from AWS and a full catalog from Cisco. So in terms of entry to specialist levels, those content partnerships are secured and currently available on the FSP platform and can be embedded and integrated into work readiness and digital upskilling or any of the other learning paths you may wish to cover. Thanks, Renee. If you would just like me quickly to work through what the broader ecosystem looks like, just in terms of aggregation. Sorry, guys, I'm just speaking to the key elements here. Is knowledge is pulled into the platform from a number of excellent sources, as we've mentioned. We have significant AI machine curation capability for content, and that is embedded into the learning experience on the platform, which we collaborate with you to either onboard new staff, upskill incumbent staff, or develop your future leaders. The slide deck will be shared, and you will see the range of very strong partnerships and access to content on the deck. Work readiness training is at the base of our pyramid, and it takes us through consecutive competency levels through to the opportunities to grow. We very much do post-work readiness training interventions as well, and the types of opportunities you have are either directly with the organization via funded opportunities that are very strategic, like this one, and we take yourselves, your learners, and your team on a learning journey across competency levels with access on the platform. Thanks, Renee. Okay, please go ahead. Okay, I'll hand over to the supporting team who make sure that all of this wonderful stuff is tracked and monitored, evaluated, and shown impact. Thanks, over to you.
Thanks, Judy. This is Neville Cousin speaking. I'm just going to quickly do an introduction and then hand over to Renee. But at the core of these projects is our teams that are involved in making sure that we support yourselves as you participate in these programs, that we're able to manage the requirements, and that we're able to then eventually support the reporting requirements through to our funders. One of the teams, obviously, that is involved is our BPESA Future Skills Platform team. And so, Renee, if you could just come in and then just take us through the structure that you have to your avail.
Thank you so much, Neville. I'd like to introduce to everyone the Future Skills, the BPESA Future Skills team that is heavily supporting the Future Skills platform, and introduce you to the different work stream leads that you will be working with once we've onboarded you with this great opportunity. So our program director is Andy Sill. He leads the overall project and the objectives of the project to make sure that it's managed and manage your expectation as well. In terms of program management, solution architect, that is our work stream is with Coral Albertser, and she is responsible for all the ecosystem relationships to be able to provide strategic insights and also make sure that we are achieving our customer success goals, partnering with yourselves to make sure that you're also achieving the goals. You've already met on this call Keith Rosmarin, who is responsible for demand stimulation and the BPESA relationship and business partner relationship. You've met also my colleague Judy, who is our content architect, who does the content management and also the content partner management. So she brings in all the third party, all the nice training that's required for our GBS sector to upskill in terms of the digital jobs. You've met me, I'm Renee Chetty, the platform lead, the experience lead, and also very responsible for the entire operations. So we provide you with these very strong onboarding process, engagement, and maintenance of your learning program, right to when you are offboarding of the Future Skills platform, which we hope that you will always be there to stay and enjoy the amazing content that's available to you. So that's very high level. We have a very strong team that it's supported by within each of those work streams. And in those work streams, when we do connect with you, we will be then certain to make sure that you understand how we engage and who the right people are that you will be able to connect with. But this is a very high level view, and we will be sharing the slides with you. So at any given time, if you have any questions, please feel free to shout out and we'll be able to assist. Thank you so much, Neville.
Thank you, Renee. Next slide, please, Susan. Okay, if you look at the BPESA OPSCO team, I think many of you will be aware of what the structure here. We've got Reshni Singh, who's the CEO of BPESA, and then in a role looking after operations, admin, and compliance, Sam Hussain. And then we have our demand stimulation team, headed up by Angela and Tracy, looking after both attracting business into South Africa as well as the marketing associated with that. In the PMO, or the special projects side of the business, we have Tuli that you will be engaging with on a regular basis. We also have Renee and then Keith and Chanel that look after the skills function within BPESA. On key accounts, you've met Jürgen Naidu, who looks after KZN, Western Cape, and our National Partnership and Government Relations. Then Lynn looks after the Eastern Cape, the SME business side of things, funding, skills and development training. And then human resources is Sam Kello, with investor relationship and lead generation, Angela. So a full team, and pretty much the team that you'll be engaging with in this project will be the special projects team, the skills team, and then the future skills platform team, which also forms part of BPESA. So the next slide, Sizwe, please. If you look at these projects, some of you may have been involved in prior projects. We are and continue to develop quite a robust operating procedure in how we manage these projects. We will continue to improve the outcomes, the way that we manage. There are a couple of tenets that we hold dear in how we run these projects. We continue to simplify, we continue to automate, and we continue to make it as easy as possible for you to work with us, and to so that the effort on the admin side of things is minimized. And then obviously the payment of funds is also important, and we look to reducing the time from outcome delivery to those payments being made. If you look at the tools that we use, we have a process. Now, please go back, Sizwe. On the initial side of the business, going out on expression of interest, and that we are improving that and making sure that as we get this project and subsequent projects launched, that we are more visible, that it's easier to respond to those, and then that we are using very stringent evaluation methodologies to make decisions about who we work with. We use a SharePoint file management system at the core, with a Microsoft suite of projects, pretty much Excel and Teams, to manage the ongoing day-to-day performance, reporting, and management of these projects. Next slide, Sizwe. Okay. In terms of the structure, one of the components of this project, okay, where are we, Sizwe? Okay, the financial system to support this, we have two separate bank accounts. One of the bank accounts is for BPESA business as usual, and then we have a second bank account where we manage funding. And so just to make it easier for us and our auditors to make sure that everything is tracked and everything is above board. The structure that we've put in place caters specifically for project accounting and for the management and reporting of all income, expenditure through to our funding partners. The financial systems and processes are implemented by our national head of operations, also supported by an outsourced chief financial officer, and then obviously audited eventually by Netrand, who are the BPESA auditors. BPESA will manage the disbursement of UNDP GIZ funds to employees and training providers to pay for the learner stipends, and will manage the disbursement of these funds for the Future Skills platform to the service providers delivering on that project. Obviously, there's a rigor on visibility and on transparency of how we manage these funds, and we are open to audits and obviously subject to audits on a constant basis. The monthly operational and financial reports will be submitted through to the UNDP GIZ based on their reporting requirements. And it's based on those reporting requirements that we require our sub-implementation partners to actually provide reporting through to us. Next slide, Sizwe. If you look at the stipend portion of this project, there is a once-off stipend of 4,500 Rand per learner that is funded, and that is for the duration of the 6-week work readiness program, based on a 750 Rand per learner per week. The participating companies must pay this stipend directly to the learners when due and recover this amount by invoicing BPESA once all criteria have been met and signed off by. We ask that you take into consideration the fact that stipends are intended so that learners have money to pay for transport and food during the training process. And so we would ask you to consider early payment of stipends as opposed to at the end of their training. The stipends of 4,500 Rand and the reimbursement thereof is payable post the training, and provided evidence, or the following evidence has been issued and has been approved by BPESA. There's a training registration document or training contract. There's evidence of attendance. There's knowledge assessment evidence, a pre, maybe a post-assessment, in fact, both. There's an employment contract, and there's internal competency reports that shows the progress of these candidates through their period of training. Next slide. Obviously, the second component of this project is the user license fees for the Future Skills platform. There is no charge to participating companies for the use of the BPESA Future Skills platform. The BPESA FSP is to be used for the work readiness program and the workplace upskilling program. The user license fee of 1,500 Rand per registered users will be funded by the GIZ and will be paid directly to the BPESA FSP function. Under the license agreement between BPESA and Cornerstone On Demand, the technology company that provides that platform, the registered FSP users will have access to the platform until the end of September 2024. In the case that you have a drop-off and that candidates are no longer accessing or using the platform, the licenses are transferable, and that will be in place until the end of September 2024. If you look at there is a project steering committee that is conducted between BPESA and the funder. And in order for us to conduct that steering committee meeting and effectively report back, we will be expecting reports from each one of the participants. Therefore, there will be regular meetings during which we will collect all this data. The project steering committee is in place and will be used to support this project, and it provides decision-making for issue resolution and for matters of scope and budget. The committee adjudicates the allocation of learners and funding to employers and training providers, and then the committee will monitor and review the progress of the project every quarter, and will include representation of the following stakeholders: the UNDP GIZ, the MSDF, who is one of the funders of the Future Skills Platform team, the Jobs Fund, BPESA, and BPESA partners, our Harambee partners. So that will be the committee, and we will obviously you will not be exposed to that, but you will be providing us with information that we will need to report into the steering committee. Next slide. If you look at our project management and our monitoring and evaluation, as far as the project is concerned, we do have a well evolved project management function, and the existing BPESA special projects lead, which is myself, will be responsible for making sure that we deliver this project within time, within budget, and within the required specified outcomes. As far as I'm always concerned, the important factor in these projects is the outcome, which is those young individuals that have been placed into sustainable jobs. I also want to hand over to you, Renee, just to take us through the next function in this, which is the project manager and monitor function.
Everybody, I'm the dedicated resource to this project plan, and I will manage and administer the project end to end. I will also bring the two focus areas of the project together, which is the work readiness component, together with the workplace learning and upskilling component. I'll also be responsible for supporting the mobilization of the participants and the contracting process. I will implement the quality system, monitor and report on progress on all participants on the project. I will also be conducting verification checks before any tranche payments are disbursed, and just support companies throughout the process, and troubleshoot and just provide solutions so that we can mutually work together and achieve the contracted outcomes. So that is my role. I will hand over to the regional rep, Jogan and Lynn. I think Lynn has hopped off the call, so I'll just hand over to Jogan.
So from a support perspective, we are the ones that are on the ground in terms of assisting Renee. And should there be any sort of challenges in terms of us having communication issues, meaning that you can't get a hold of Renee, I'm here to sort that out. But more especially from a regional representative to a member perspective, I get involved in ensuring that the project is delivered from a regional perspective, and just as importantly, that we tick all those boxes that Neville mentioned and that my team mentioned in terms of compliance. So I'm here to support, to assist, and Renee and I work very, very closely together. And the same, even though Ms. Lynn has stepped off the call, would be for the Gauteng region as well. Thanks, Renee. Back to you.
Sorry, I was just on mute there. As far as the project management in continuation, Sam is not on the call, but from a contractual perspective, Sam will look after the contracting part and the compliance. She also takes an active role in the special projects team and makes sure that we are aligned and that there's connectivity between the various stakeholders within this project. And then from a FSP support team, Renee, do you want to take that?
Sure, Neville. Thank you for that. So from the FSP support team, we will liaise with the project manager and the regional representative so that we onboard all the employers and provide advisory and operational support, and anything relating to the content and the performance on the platform itself, we will, as a BPESA Future Skills support team, be able to assist. Thank you.
I'll talk to the implementation plans, and this slide particularly talks to the work readiness training implementation. There are 8 steps to this work readiness component. The first step is mobilization of the participants. The second is the contracting, and I'm just going to briefly go through these points and then I'll elaborate on them as the slides progress. So the second stage is contracting all participants. The third stage is recruiting, sourcing and recruiting the unemployed youth. The fourth stage is the work readiness and bridging training that these youth will participate in. They will then progress on to work integrated learning, which is the theory training. Work integrated learning, which is your workplace training. They will then complete the learner administration and placement into work opportunities. And once they meet all the requirements, they would then transition into employment, which is the outcome that we are actually wanting to achieve. Next slide. So stage 1 talks to the mobilization of the participants, which is actually what this webinar is about. We're briefing all the stakeholders in the Western Cape and Gauteng on the project goals and objectives, the timelines and the approach to the project, as well as the criteria for participation. We will then request all the stakeholders who want to participate to submit a written agreement to BPESA. And where you select to participate in the work readiness training, the sourcing, training and placing of the 413 unemployed youth, we will request that you show your ability to absorb the new jobs and demonstrate compliance to all the participating criteria. If you choose to participate in the upskilling component, where we want to upskill 1,413 incumbent staff, you will then be requested to confirm your ability to provide your staff with access to the Future Skills platform. So therefore, you will need to make resources available to them and to support them with their self-directed learning for the 12-month period, because ultimately we want to reach the objective of upskilling these incumbent staff. Contracting of the participants is stage 2, and this will involve finalizing the list for participation in the project. We will then consult with all the stakeholders, formalize contracts with employers, or employers may have back-to-back contracts with a third-party training provider. And contracts for companies receiving the stipend funding. So where you choose to participate in the 6-week work readiness program, you will enter into a customized implementation agreement with BPESA, while those companies who only want to use the Future Skills platform for digital upskilling, you will then only sign a separate business partner agreement with BPESA for the Future Skills platform. Stage 3 talks to the sourcing and recruiting of the unemployed youth. So you will be responsible for ensuring that the training is aligned to the job demand, and sourcing and recruitment is preferably undertaken via the SA Youth platform as the primary resource for sourcing, because we also want to include excluded youth. It will also include verifying learner contracts. So we will look at all the learner contracts with employers. We will agree on the curriculum, assessment tools, learning materials, and certification process. All learner contracts will also be verified by BPESA electronically before training commences, and with samples of the contracts verified on the site of the training provider where training commences. The work readiness training will be delivered by the academies or the employers verified by BPESA as being capable. It will also take approximately 6 weeks per cohort of learners to complete the work readiness training for non-complex jobs, which will prepare them for the business-specific training, which is your work integrated learning, and or qualifications where they are enrolled with a SETA to do these. We as BPESA will then review all the evidence of the work readiness training and then sign off each learner who progresses into the workplace. Stage 5 refers to the work integrated learning, which is the theory learning. And this may also be fully integrated with the workplace training. This will be at the discretion of the training provider. And the BPESA will start of the theory training to verify that they are meeting the curriculum and training requirements that are agreed to. The work integrated learning, which is your workplace training, will take place at the employer's work environment, or in some cases in an approved center of excellence academy, who could also act as an employer. However, where the learners complete their training in a COE, they will then still transition into other full-time employment after this, employed by one of the participating companies. Completion of the learner administration and then placed into work opportunities. So during this period, we as BPESA review the learners' competency assessments, which are done on the FSP, and then learner profiles are also updated on the SA Youth platform, where these youth will be marked as hired or employed. And this phase can run parallel to the transition of employment phase. And here we are the target number of candidates that you have contracted for are successfully then placed into work opportunities. Stage 8, which is the last stage, is where this learner then transitions into a fixed term contract or permanent employment once they have completed the 6-week workplace training. And this is also subject to internal terms of employment. However, there may be cases where employers also offer the learners employment contracts as soon as they complete their work readiness training. But this will be up to the employers to decide, but we will obviously as BPESA strongly motivate this. BPESA will verify then the placement of these learners into suitable roles. And we will also check that there's a minimum salary above the minimum wage for the first 2 years of employment that is offered to these employees while on this project. We'd also ideally like for a commitment for this to increase to that of 5,000 Rand or more in year 2. I'll now hand over to Judy to talk about the digital upskilling. This is a 5-step process, and I'll hand over to Judy to speak to this.
Thank you very much, Renee. In terms of digital upskilling, what we would do is to evaluate those that are interested, to identify the opportunity and the best fit in terms of your environment to help support digital upskilling. Your candidates that you, once you've signed up, we will configure and test for you. What's really important for us is that you and your organization are committing to ensuring that learning is fit for purpose. So we have a strong stakeholder consultation process with you and team to ensure that it's fit for purpose and meets your mark in terms of the content that is there for you. Once we have done that scoping, we'll get you signed up, connected. We will get you and/or facilitators onboarded to ensure that everybody is capacitated to deliver and support the ongoing learning. You will have ongoing support from the engagement team at BPESA FSP, who are there to just keep an eye on whether we are meeting your requirements, whether your learners are in need, whether the topics are fit for purpose, whether the assigned learning is taking place, what your engagement levels are, and to help you structure any campaigns around engagement and or communication to the organization around your upskilling initiatives. You will also then obviously have really strong account management by the key work streams on the project. So from the point of scoping your needs, from the content team to the point of onboarding and support, right through to the facilitation of ongoing learning and potential business impacts, reporting back to the organization based on the upskilling requirements. So that's it from me in terms of the implementation phases, Renee.
Thank you, Judy.
Just go to, yeah. I think maybe just one last comment quickly around that is that the content and digital skills, content availability is broad-based and best practice. And we look forward to co-creating a learning journey that would fit your team's upskilling needs. Thanks.
This slide just talks to the implementation plan and the timelines. Sipo, you can move to the next slide. And this is just high-level process overview. So we've actually conducted the webinar today, and this was just to give you insight into key project objectives. Thereafter, you will then respond to an online survey. So the online survey will go out after the session today. BPESA will then shortlist proposals, and then there'll be a selection process where BPESA will evaluate survey responses. Companies will be shortlisted, and if you are shortlisted, you will then be requested to send in a proposal. BPESA will then allocate and award the contracting of participants. So here you will then know if you are eligible to participate and then what your allocation is. These are just important timelines that you need to adhere to in order to participate in the project, because time is of essence. We've got a specific time to wrap up this project, which is April next year. So the important dates, the webinar was scheduled for today. As I've stated, the EOI survey will go out today. We are expecting the survey to be completed by interested operators by the 20th of October. This will come back to the BPESA Special Projects team. They will evaluate the survey and make allocations by the 27th of October. The shortlisted companies will then be required to submit their formal proposals to BPESA by the 31st of October. The team will then send out agreements by the 3rd of November. We are hoping that contracting will be finalized by the 30th of November or sooner if need be. If you complete your contract quicker, the sooner the better. And then operators for digital upskilling can start with onboarding as soon as contracting has been finalized. I've highlighted the last blocks in different colors and very brightly, just to highlight these two key points. If you are an operator and you have demand in December, that is great. Then you can go ahead, recruit, and get learners onboarded. And learners, we are hoping that if you get them to start in December, that they will then transition into employment in mid-January. If, however, you don't have demand at this stage and you will only have demand in January or February, then you can still participate in the work readiness program. And we are then asking that these learners transition into jobs by the 30th of April 2024. So these are the key timelines that I'd really ask you to look at and adhere to if you want to participate. This next slide talks to the next steps and support. As indicated in the previous slide, I've just indicated who the support team are that can assist you in meeting those timelines. So if you have any questions regarding the EOI and etc., you can reach out to me. If you have any questions regarding timelines and contracting and onboarding, you can speak to, or you can contact Samantha Hoosen, Robin Shields, and myself. Anything regarding contracting, you can speak to Samantha and Robin. Recruitment and the SA Youth platform. If you need any further information regarding this, please reach out to me. I will then get in touch with Renee Rademeyer, and we will then do a demo session on how the SA Youth platform works. Any questions regarding the work readiness training, etc., and the Future Skills platform, Judy and Renee will be glad to assist you on that. And any other questions? As I said, I'm the project monitor and I will manage the project end to end. So please do reach out to me regarding any questions. If you need any a follow-up session, if you need me to do this presentation again because you didn't understand key points, I will be happy to do that. Thank you very much. We are open to questions and answers.
Renee, I see that Olivia asked the question just around details around the content library and what's available. And perhaps, Olivia, perhaps just reach out to Judy if you need more of that information.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm okay, Renee. I don't know if you're going to go through the questions one by one in the chat box. We do have quite a lot of feedback.
Yes, Sibu, we've tried to answer questions as they've come up, but we are happy if the audience still want to pose some more questions to us.
Okay.
Okay, thank you to our audience. You've been awesome, and thank you for all the questions that you've posed for this session. Please do reach out post the session should you need any more information regarding this project. It would be great to get you on board. Could I hand over to you, Keith, just to close the session, please?
Sure thing. Both myself and my daughter's puppy in the background barking will bid you a good afternoon and a good evening. Thanks very much, and looking forward to getting the submissions and answering any queries or questions that you guys might have. Thanks very much, all. I think we're good to close off the session, Renee.
Okay, thank you to all my colleagues for the support.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
We will
Okay,
share the
bye.
presentation, Christophe. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.